going on, guys? Welcome back to the series where Bryce and I are showcasing our progression in Season 9 of Rocket League with ranked videos, followed by a replay analysis video by Coach Evil. Coach Evil is on Metafy. He has a very stacked resume that you can check out in the description box below. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Okay. Wait. Oh. Okay. Good. Something that I'd like you guys to do, and this is, I think, a good thing that we could talk about now, is we have an advantage over opponents in a lot of situations where, first off, you're in comms, right? These guys are in comms and they're partied, but a lot of teams kind of just go for like an AFK kickoff. You know what I mean? Is in like they just kind of do it. It's just like whatever comes naturally. Like, oh, let's go for the kickoff. I'll go grab boost. You get what I mean? But the kickoff is such a powerful tool for you guys that I want you guys to start implementing a little bit more of fakes or like specific types of kickoffs where you try to get the ball to each other for kind of like a quick offensive play. So a good example right here, right, is you guys have a few options. You could start by, you could have Bryce go for it and then try to like flip this way to pinch the ball over here, and then Groovy can get it. So you guys could try that. You could fake it, right, where he goes up and he fakes it, and then he goes over here, and then, or this way, it doesn't matter, and then Groovy hits it in that direction, and then you could hit it back down, or you can just shoot Bryce. That's up to you. Or you guys could even start like exploring Spanish kickoffs where Bryce like goes around it, and then doesn't demo the kickoff guy, but demos the cheater, and then the guy who goes for the kickoff hits it to Groovy, and then Groovy just shoots. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I'd like you guys
and
to...
we
Go ahead.
my bad. Yeah, we do the second one that you mentioned. I think
Where you fake it
we
and
we
he goes
do.
up the wall.
Yeah. We do those more in casual, but
Yeah,
we
I'd
do-
like you guys to
yeah.
definitely start experimenting on that on any of these like straight on kickoffs, especially
Mhm.
on the straight on ones, because it's just like you have that advantage. Why not take it, right? Just that extra little thing. Like it's not going to be the difference between you getting like SSL, right? But like
Yeah.
it is something that's like, oh, it's going to get you a couple goals here, and in a game where like maybe you do struggle a little bit, or maybe they're a little bit faster, or they do some weird stuff and you can't read it, it'll make up for that, those weird things, or maybe like unfortunate goals that happen where it's like something really like someone pinched into your net, right? Make up for that by doing something like this. But throwing that out, you don't need to do it every single game, but like if it's different opponents, then yeah, you can do it every single game, but just do it like once per game or something so that they don't really
Yeah.
like catch
Switch
it.
it up.
And then if it's the same people, right, you get the same people, probably don't do it again unless you like don't think they remember something. But that's up to you guys on how you want to do that. It's just here I don't really like no one cheating, or like I don't like that they get possession on kickoff. That's the big thing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if you guys are gonna go for just a standard kickoff, there has to be a mentality in mind of how am I gonna get possession off this, not just, oh, I'm gonna go get boost, he's gonna go for kickoff. So here it's like you either need to lose that back to Groovy, or if you're gonna do what you did, Groovy needs to cheat up. Because if you had cheated
Okay.
up, right, that ball came to you. So if you're cheated up, right, you hit it over to the side, you automatically get this boost or this boost, whichever one you want, and then Bryce could pick up that boost and go middle for you.
Okay.
Or if he loses it, then it hopefully comes back a little bit more towards you, so it's more obvious that it's to you, instead of this guy having a chance to get to it and you having to try and take a 50. I really don't like that off kickoff, that when you guys are partied, that we're ending up in situations where we don't get possession off kickoff. We should be getting possession off kickoff a lot more because we have that advantage of being able to communicate together on, hey, well, I'm going to try to do this to get it to you. Now, if a mechanical error happens, right, you don't get it on kickoff, that's fine. But overall, we want you guys to be able to do it a good percentage or big chunk of the time. So if that, good 50. It's fine for you to cut in front. Good challenge. Good job going fast there. So this is something, right, Groovy, where it's like, it's fine for you to jump here. I don't mind you jumping. But looking at it from your perspective, now, as you jump, are you recognizing no one's pressuring you?
Yeah.
That's one of those moments where you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, right, when you're halfway through the aerial.
Mhm.
But you can still back out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, just let yourself drop and just catch it. Save that boost instead of really committing fully to it, giving away that possession, and then ending up without boost on their side of the field, where it's not really ideal. So I'd really like you to think about that as like, right? Where are the opponents? Answering that question like we were talking about earlier. And then if you decide to jump and something goes wrong, remember that you don't necessarily have to follow through with it. There are
Yeah.
times where maybe you do want to follow through, but something like this where you see there's open space and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, just let yourself drop and catch in instead of committing and giving away that possession where it's not really ideal. After that, good job waiting, Bryce. And Groovy will hit it across. Good, like this.
Ooh.
So this is just like something we've talked about for both of you in the past, right? Like, okay, the ball's in the corner. Let's take our time. We need to be a little bit safer in this corner. As in, like, don't be afraid to take time in this corner instead of like immediately going for it and feeling rushed, because that could have been a pretty dangerous play. Where in reality, you could have just sat there and waited a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to worry about that. After that, that's fine for you to hit it there into that open space. Good job of centering or being middle here. Good pass out mid. Good 50. Good force. Same thing again for both of you now. Is it's fine for you to go for this initially, Bryce, because you're like, oh, this guy might jump for it, right? Or let me go back to your perspective.
Yeah.
He might jump for it, but after that, I need you to recognize, like, look around real quick, and if he's not challenging you, stop, back out.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to go for a little bit more fakes, especially when you got someone behind you, because what ends up happening is you guys are like, you commit for something, and then you're afraid to decommit. And then because you're afraid to decommit, you give up possession. But in reality, if you had noticed, like as soon as you went up here, right, you're like, oh, he might go up, so I need to go. And then you see him flipping away, or Groovy tells you he's flipping away, then in that case, just let yourself drop, let the ball fall,
Yeah.
catch it, and then keep going.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
we're so we commit to a play and we just commit to it so hard, even though we might recognize, oh, I shouldn't have done that, as we're like even just going up for the aerial, that we just give away possession. When in reality
Yeah.
here, you guys are missing out. That's like 2 opportunities in a minute where you could have faked it, both of you, one for each, where you could have faked it, caught it, and then started something. But instead, you commit through it fully and then give away possession, throw yourself out of the play.
Yep.
Good job buying time, Groovy. Really good job. Good job being ready, Bryce. That you force him. Groovy's also ready, so that's good. Really good touch to that open space. Really love that. Good try there. Good job trying for that bump, Groovy. That kind of shows, right, that you're thinking about that a little bit
Appreciate
more,
it.
so I love to see that. That shows, right, you land, you're like, oh, can't get that. Try and bump him, get in his way. And even though you didn't get him, right, you messed him up. And then because of that, you just handed possession over to Bryce. That Bryce, oh, I did not mean to do that. Bryce took a power shot, a little bit off target, but that's okay. I like the idea. Pop it up. Good
Yeah.
catch. And then I think, let's look at it from your perspective, Bryce, here, of what happened. I think after you went for this, it's fine for you to go back like this and pick up these pads, but you got to turn that ball cam back on. Is like you're turning off ball cam for too long, and I think Groovy struggled with something like this when I met individually with him. Is making sure that, okay, when we are rotating back, it's fine for us to turn our ball cam off to look for where boost is, but as soon as you turn that ball cam off, you have to identify the boost and then turn ball cam back on. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's fine for you to do this, and you're like, oh, this is where all the pads are. Decide where you want to go. You decide you want to go through that center path, and then go for that pad. And then from there, you know you need to turn left, turn ball cam back on now.
Okay.
Because now it's been another second and a half with ball cam off, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh. And then you turn, and you're like, well, I'll try my best, but you're kind of screwed because you just went back
Yeah.
the entire time and you weren't watching. But if you had been paying attention, as in like you went back, you picked up this pad, and then turned your ball cam back on, you would seen that ball, and then now you could be turning.
Yeah.
You could be turning, and you might not necessarily need to go, right? You could go up, and then you could fake challenge, but at least if you fake challenge, you're forcing him to hit the ball this way into your corner, and then after that, you can go back again.
Uh huh.
Okay, so more team stuff is I'd like to have you guys start looking more for infield passes. So in this situation, it's really important that you guys start looking for each other because we have open space. So what I talked to Bryce about is taking the ball to that open space, like personally, right? Is like you take it and you dribble it over there. But now for both of you, you don't necessarily need to always dribble the ball to open space. You could just hit it to open space. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So building off of that here, as you see this ball come out in the midfield, right? You got a good amount of time, Bryce. I know you recognize that. Like you saw that you had time, so you slowed down here and you didn't just immediately boom it, right? So you did a good job of recognizing the space in front of you and taking your time with it. But what could be better than taking the space here?
Put it up into the space for Groovy.
Exactly, right? There's more open space to the left away from the opponents.
Right.
And you can catch them on this counter attack because Grizzly just went for it. They're both on the wall. One of them probably doesn't have boost because one of them cheated up for kickoff. So one of them doesn't have boost. We don't know which one it is. You guys might know from playing the game, or like from watching. But maybe we don't know, but it doesn't matter. We got open space to the left. We know Groovy went over there. Let's hit it over there. And this is where we start to get to a point where for you guys, we got to start communicating. So I think for Friday, what I'd like is you guys to record a game. And record your comms. I want to hear you guys talking.
Okay.
Would you guys be able to do that?
Yeah.
So that'd be
we
perfect.
upload
Is record one of your games, which I'm assuming you record anyways, right? But
Mhm.
record it with your comms, and then send me just that one from it doesn't matter whose point of view, whoever's recording's point of view, and I'd like to
Mhm.
watch that with your comms together so that we can look at situations where you guys aren't communicating well enough, because this is one of these where I doubt Groovy said, "Hey, pass left." Right? That probably
Okay.
didn't happen.
Okay, fair enough.
But if you did that, right, and he gets that over to you, right, anywhere in this zone, you just turn back in. So initially you're going back, right? But then you tell him, "Oh, open space left," or like pass left. You turn back in. He, as it comes down, he side flips it somewhere over here, or diagonal flips, and then you have an open net.
Yep.
But we can't do that unless we communicate. And I think that's going to be a big thing for you guys moving forward is we need to be communicating that kind of stuff. Because yes, this is fine, right, for you to take that open space. And I like that you're doing that because that's what we talked about, right? So you're doing a good job of what we've talked about so far, but I'd like to build on that and start talking about passes into open space as well. But other than that, like you going for this is perfectly fine. I like that. Good. Good aerial. Would have gotten a sick double if he didn't bump you. Possible sick double. But I know you hit those, so it would have been a sick double. So we pop it up to the backboard. That's good. You leave it for Groovy. Perfect. That's good as well. All right, so this isn't like your standard passing play, or this is more of your standard passing play, right? Where we're kind of just hitting it into the backboard, or more obvious passes where we're passing from their like third. But I also want passes to start happening here.
Okay.
That's the big thing as well. Is you guys do pass in this third, right? We saw someone pass it out mid in the beginning of the game. We just saw someone, I think it was Bryce slap it to the backboard, and that's all good. And I want you guys to continue doing that. But I also want it to happen more in this midfield and this defensive third. So after that, we shoot. All good. Let's get forward. Get demoed. Bryce is going to start applying some pressure. Almost got demoed too. That guy just was out for blood. Oh, he's still going. He's still out for blood. Good job buying time, Groovy. Right, he gives you the ball, so you hit it to the corner. Great. We turn back in. It's all fine. Oh, I think we just got a little tripped up there. Oh, I don't know why my camera switched up
that
to
was
the soft attach. So, in terms of your rotation, right, this is good. All good. All good as well, right? You wait for a second, you start to push up a little bit. That's all fine. You go to the front post. I think after that, you just needed to stop and wait for his first touch.
Yeah.
So when you get here, this is all good, but now just sit there.
Yeah.
When he makes that first
Push
touch,
up a little farther.
Yep. When he makes that first touch, that's all yours to decide what you want to do. But until then, wait for that first touch because you don't know. But I think that's a small
Okay.
thing. It doesn't happen every game. You've gotten better at it, right? It's still going to happen occasionally. It's to be expected. We're not perfect, so
Yeah.
it's not that big of a
Okay.
deal.
I just want to point out I was a pixel away from demoing.
Are you? Let me see this. Oh. Oh, we just skimmed right past them. But this is perfect as well, Groovy. Yes, you missed it, right? But I don't care that you missed it because you're understanding the concept. This is what I want you doing more often, and that's what you've already shown us twice this game where you're doing that. And if you'd gotten that, right, that goal, it doesn't even matter he gets beat because there'd be no one there to finish it. So that was really good. I like you doing that. So conceptually, there's a lot of things we're doing well, right? It's just something that's like we're understanding it, we're working on it. The execution isn't fully there, but that's to be expected, right? We're still like getting in the process of doing this, getting better at it. We're not perfect yet at reading how someone's going to drive to be able to demo them. We're not perfect at making the best touch possible with our open space, right? That's stuff that Bryce is going to continue working on. He took that open space. We saw him. That's really beautiful. We love that. Groovy, you're looking for demos and you're trying to bump people, and that's good. You guys are going to keep practicing that. You're going to get better at it. But we're seeing it already that you're trying to do this stuff, and that's what counts. We can't expect to be perfect immediately. So from what we're seeing, it's really, really good. It shows that you guys are working on the stuff we're talking about. Good. Oops, so I think this is a communication error.
Yeah.
We just have to have someone call it, which is something we'll address. We'll talk more calm stuff when we do that recording video, but that'll definitely be something we want to address because that is a communication error where we need to have someone cut that off. Dunked. Bryce is ready. Perfect.
Yep.
You look for that demo. I love that, Groovy. You're going back, you're looking for that demo, you recognize, okay, I can't get it now, I'll go back post. But the idea is perfect. You rotate wide, you go up. That was beautiful. Really, really good play. Also really good job from you, Groovy. You chill at the front post, right? You wait for his touch. That shows like that other one, it happens sometimes, but consistently for the most part, you're waiting and you're being patient. So we're seeing a lot of really, really good stuff. And it shows because we were winning, we went 5-1, right? There's still some aspects of it that we can get, like, that we can refine, but overall, I really like this replay today. Oh, we're going up the wall. Oh, we just went cross field for that one. We were wanting, we really wanted that one. So same deal here is like, this is something I'd want you to talk about with the pass is like, okay, what do you want him to do, Groovy? If you were going back, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, force it to the corner.
Force it to the corner.
Even, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Maybe just really into any open space, really.
Okay, so preferably force it to the corner, right? So tell him like, force it to our right corner, or whatever corner you think of in the moment. But I want you telling him that, because right now for him, he's like, oh, I just need to get a 50. But if you tell him, he can adjust and be like, oh, I need to take a 50, but I can purposefully lose that 50 in a direction that works for my teammate. Yeah. The same way on a kickoff, you can purposefully lose the 50 back to your teammate. Because there he tries to pop it to you, but if you had told him to like try and take a 50, maybe you wouldn't hit it and you would have let the dude come to him a little bit more. So after that dude gives it to you, you go up. Love it. Really good job being ready for that, Bryce. You were there. You were ready. Yes, we missed. Happens. But again, conceptually, we're there. You're ready. Hope we went through the ball on my screen.
Yeah, ghost touch.
That rotate back post, we've really gotten this part down. I like that. Oh, we are just Groovy's just feeling it in this game. Man's just moving. Finds the nearest wall, goes up. Even if the nearest wall is on the opposite side, doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. Open space, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So here we did the cheat kickoff, right? So if we're gonna cheat kickoff, we want to be a little bit closer. So towards the end of the kickoff, I'd want you to be near this pad.
Okay.
Depending on the kind of kickoff you guys want to do, you could even be closer. Like you could literally be in his booty as he takes the 50 if you want. But for the most part, I'd say like get to this pad, so that when this kickoff happens, you get to here, and then right there you can take the 50. You can have a chance to dunk him or at least get a 50 compared to here, where there's no chance you get to that before him.
No man's land.
Or be able to dunk him, right? So it's just if we're gonna cheat, we gotta get a little bit closer.
Okay.
So again, lose that kickoff. If we're gonna go for these types of kickoffs, we've got to lose it to the dude back here, unless you're cheating and you want to lose it that way, or you tell him to lose it that way. But in general, right, that shows us again, they're getting possession off kickoff when we should be the ones getting possession off kickoff. Good. Let him keep going. Oh, we're pole dancing. Take a 50. You're pushing up. Perfect. Pops it out. We take that ball into open space. Let it go in the corner. That's fine as well. It's all good. We're at the back post. Okay, we're good. Ah, we were good, right? So it's like you rotated here, and this was good. All perfect. And then after that, we kept pushing. So again, we're still getting better at it, right? But it still happens. That's the second time it's happened this game. So it is something to keep in mind, is that back post of don't be afraid, just sit there for a second. We don't necessarily need to push up immediately. Good. So that would be good if like Bryce was aware that you were trying to do that. I don't know if you were even aware you were trying to do that, Groovy. But like if you were aware that you're trying that, then obviously you want to tell Bryce so that Bryce knows to turn out. And then after that, if he turns out, then he could go for it right now. And that would make it a little bit easier for him. And even then, he's still the fastest player on the field, man. The speed demon, so he beats the other guy. Oh, the other guy just whiffed. We take those.
Yep.
But I'd rather that happen. Like, that second miss is fine, but I'd rather, like, Bryce be in a position where he could just straight up beat the guy that was here by just going up the wall and slapping it on target or something. But again, that's something you guys have to communicate, is like, oh, I'm trying to lose the kickoff this direction, or put it here for you. Good. That one was a little bit risky, but it's just, right, you're still working on that. You understand that. We understand, like, okay, the dude was closer. Something to keep in mind is who's closer, not is there a threat, maybe. Is answer, instead of is there a threat, answer who's closer. And then after that, we got a nice little open net. The hardest shot to hit. If you would miss that, I wouldn't have been surprised, just because it's hard. It's like, I'm like, if you miss that, I'd be like, oh, you know, I would have done that too. Good job leaving it. Good communication there. Bryce just had enough. He was like, no. Man just rammed right into him. Didn't even care about the ball. It's a strategies first, man. You don't necessarily need to always go for the ball. So there, Bryce goes. Good 50. And then we go to OT.
Oh, okay. I was like, why did I...
And we tie 4-4. Everyone loses MMR. So this is another thing alongside the passes. So we talked about that midfield, right? Of like, hey, off kickoffs, don't be afraid to try and get that across. Or when you guys have that open space, where maybe this dude gets the ball and he has some space over here to try and flick it over the left side for the supporting player to move up. That's something in the midfield I'd like you to do. In terms of our defensive third for passing, I'd like you guys to start thinking about extensions. So what I mean by that is, in this situation, I want Groovy to take a 50 with this guy over here. And I want Groovy to try and purposefully lose the 50, or just fake the 50 and let the guy hit the ball in this direction. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
And then from there, Groovy, and I'll use a different color, you drive up the field here, or here. And the ball, theoretically, as long as you like either let the dude hit it past you or 50 you so that it went away from him a little bit, the ball should go past him, and then Bryce can go up to it, and now ball up to you, and then you can move down the field. And it throws this dude out of the play.
Yeah.
And then from there, Bryce, after he hits it, could drive up the field and be middle for you. And if he's an absolute demon, then he can go demo the guy in the goal if he wants. But does that make sense?
Yeah.
I want you guys trying that, because in this situation, and you could even do it here, of like, instead of immediately going back, Groovy, when that ball just goes in your net and you see that's like on the wall or it's kind of in the midfield or whatever, and that you know Bryce is going to be the one to go for it next, instead of turning back, keep driving up, and then Bryce, here you would aerial, and then as that ball comes out kind of off that wall, you would air roll and you would boom it this way.
Okay.
Now this is a harder scenario of it, right? Normally I'd want it to just be rolling and then you could just boom it. That's a lot easier. But that's a more extreme version where you could try it. We could try it again here. So let's see what happens. Bam, just like that. I want Groovy off of this play to be in this area to kind of hang out here. So you could turn and then immediately turn back up the wall. And then for Bryce, when that ball kind of comes out like that, you boom it up.
Okay.
And that allows us to, yes, dribbling is good, and there's times where we have to do it, but when this dude is caught out of position for a second, let's try and take advantage of that. Don't let him get back. Because when we dribble, it's good, we take time, but it also allows them to get back to defense.
Makes sense.
But if we boom it down the field to a teammate, instead of just booming to boom, then we have an opportunity to get kind of a counterattack going. Because this dude would kind of drive up to apply pressure, so if Groovy had just driven back up the wall, then Bryce could slam it, this guy would be out of the play, and then after that, Bryce can push up middle, and you could pass it back down, or you could shoot, you could hit it to the backboard, and then Bryce could go. Right? A lot of different things you can do at that point. Same thing again here, is if you want Bryce, repeat the process. Instead of going, just bait this dude into a 50. So,
Okay.
instead of trying to get past him, let him come to you, take the 50 with the goal of it pinching out here, and then after that, you drive up, and then Groovy hits it to you. So after, again, this is the same general idea of like, okay, I got a lot of space, we got open field to the left, maybe try and take a little bit of a wider turn like that, and as that ball kind of comes down, slam it this way, and then Groovy can turn back in.
Gotcha.
So we're seeing a little bit of that as well. Instead of, yes, I want you to take that open space, but I also want you to think about these counterattack opportunities where when you see two players in kind of the same area, it might be better to move it to a different area.
Yeah.
And you bringing it to that area is slow, not because you're slow, but because it's just slow to bring it, so they'll have time to move and shift. But if you immediately boom it, they don't have time. It's like in soccer when you switch the field quickly, they don't have time to all shift over, so it kind of gives you those counterattack opportunities. So you can think of it that way.
Yeah.
We're buying time, we're kind of vibing. He gives it to you so you can just go. Makes it easy for you. Good job slowing it down. We get bumped and dribbled a little bit, and that's okay. Good bump. Now we rotate back post. Then we get our boost. And after that you turn, you go. This is perfect Groovy, right? Where you recognize, okay, yes, you jump to bump to avoid the bump, but in general, like if you jump for something, recognize, okay, I have space, instead of continuing committing for an aerial that might not be as good, slowing it down like that. Good try on that 50. Good try on that shot. That was a really good shot too from that angle. That was a good job leaving it for him. Then turning back in mid. Love all of that. And then you're chilling over here. You're ready. Another one. Saves it. It's okay. Oh my. Groovy breaking ankles. Oh no, Groovy. This is exactly what we're looking for. You just abandoned. Did we end up playing a casual match, Groovy, at the end of our lesson last time?
What? No.
No, I was curious because I showed someone else this, and I did this exact same play to a dude in a casual match after talking about that idea of like taking that open space and then demoing on your way out a little bit more. And this is perfect. I love that you tried this. Okay, so that Bryce comes in, solid 50, gets deleted for that 50, but it's worth. Stalls you or stalls them a little bit, then respawn. Solid 2-man challenge. Pops it right out mid for you, and then Groovy slots those. So overall, we got, I don't know why I just wrote an L. I think it's because I meant to write that. Okay. So we got the back post still. Slash wait for first touch. Does that make sense of waiting for them to make that first touch and then playing off of that?
Yeah.
So that's a thing defensively. After that, I want space. Or we'll reword that. Passes to space. So not just dribbles. We also want to start looking for passes to space. And then corner, that's an N. That's not an R. Corner, that's an N. Have you guys noticed how my handwriting gets worse every single time we do one of these? Like in the beginning, I was like, "Oh, my handwriting's gonna suck," and you guys are like, "Oh, that's pretty good," and now it's like genuinely becoming chicken scratch.
Yeah,
We keep going.
we're quiet. We're quiet right now.
Corner extension. So that back post, let's wait for them to make that first touch and not rush into it. And then when we're in kind of that midfield, whether it's off kickoff or just when you have open space in that midfield and you see them clumped up in an area, don't be afraid to boom it across to a teammate. And then after that, the
Yeah.
corner extension is the idea of, hey, let's maybe even purposefully lose a 50 or just let the dude even beat you. Don't even go for the 50 and just drive past him. Like if you think he's going to boom the ball or like you know he's going to boom the ball because he's probably going to try and take a 50 with you, so he's front flipping or whatever, then just drive past him or take the 50 but try and purposefully lose it by angling your car using like the underside of your car or like turning your car sideways a little bit. Lose the 50 and then the second man who's in the net booms it up to you and you guys get a counterattack going.
Okay.
So these are two passing related things. This is just a general thing to keep in mind. Individually, right, Bryce, keep working on your dribbles. Groovy, keep in mind who is
Oh.
close to that ball. And then
Mhm.
next time we'll look at a recording so we can start talking about communication related things because I think that's going to be a big thing that helps with this stuff is making
Yeah.
sure that we're communicating. And what kind of words do we use? Maybe use some key words for you guys, some key phrases so you both know what they mean. It's not like you have to think about it. And stuff
Okay.
like, oh, I hear this word, I do this. But
Okay.
we'll talk about that next time. But I think that's it in terms of what I want to talk about today.